GM, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to your daily digest for Tuesday, May 6th, 2025, where I bring you fact-based, non-sensational, objective information about what's going on in the broader blockchain and cryptocurrency space. I am coming back from a week in Dubai at Token 2049, so I'm quite jet-lagged. Let's get this rolling. The FIT21 successor bill has been put forth for a draft commentary by the House Financial Services Committee and House Ag Committee. This is a new version that aims to set clear boundaries between crypto jurisdictions of the CFTC and SEC, and this will be discussed amongst the U.S. House of Representatives today. U.S. crypto lawyer Gabe Shapiro went through the 200 plus pages of the bill and shared some of his insights. Overall, there are good things and there are bad things, but he wanted to highlight three key areas that need to be addressed and improved so that there isn't an Achilles heel for the crypto industry. The first is that tokens are not sufficiently clarified not to be traditional regulated assets. The second problem he identified is there's no real protections for or clarity about DeFi. And lastly, that decentralization has an unclear philosophical role and enforcement mechanism within the bill. Another great kind of review came from Justin Slaughter, and they pointed out a cool update to the bill, which basically said that any affiliated person who has more than 1% of a digital commodity issued by the project must be identified. This has been dropped down from 5% earlier, so we get to know who the early onset whales are. Moving on, Van Eck has filed for a BNB ETF, which will be the first in the US. In corporate strategies, MicroStrategy has bought more Bitcoin, another 1,895 Bitcoin for $180 million, totaling 555,400 Bitcoin for strategy. The company has acquired 555 plus Bitcoin for around $38 billion and is in a paper gain of about $14.2 billion. In other corporate strategies, DeFi Development Corp bought $11.2 million more worth of Solana, pushing its holdings to slightly above 400,000. And we saw, in slightly good news, Ethereum-based investment products witnessing inflows for a second consecutive week. Though, by the recent numbers I just shared, it might not be impressive. Between April 27th and May 2nd, the ETH-based ETFs have seen $149 million in inflows, which totals about $336 million since the end of April. So, cool to see some positive Ethereum movement. Australia just underwent its elections, and the industry has called for its incumbent government to pay attention to crypto and blockchain policy. And the government says that it will. Much like here in the States, the first 100 days really matters. So there's going to be potential legislation on tokens, stablecoins, and also a tokenization sandbox, which would be really cool to see. Some more regulatory and legislative guidance on how projects can locate in various different jurisdictions around the world and safely launch their products. Speaking of safety, the Solana devs fixed a 0-day bug that would have allowed malicious actors to mint unlimited amounts of certain types of tokens. The Token 22 standard, which is called extension tokens, leverages zero-knowledge proofs for private transfers and aims to enable advanced functionality. There was a vulnerability found in Token 22 confidential tokens that was first identified approximately 3 weeks ago, and 2 patches were deployed to resolve the issues. Congratulations on the Solana network for identifying and fixing this problem. A lot of crypto and blockchain folks are claiming that there was collusion and centralization amongst the validator networks and how quickly that this was passed. But ultimately, I think when there's a lot of validators that recognize there's an issue, it's easy for them to come together and fight to implement a solution. So I wouldn't necessarily listen to the cries of centralization amongst the folks of crypto Twitter. In crime season, this is just a wild story on Cointelegraph. We're going to link it in our Reddit post for today's Daily Digest that basically highlighted how a $243 million Bitcoin scam led to one of the scamming malicious actors' parents getting kidnapped while they were driving to look for a new house, whilst flaunting their son's wealth by driving a really expensive car. Long story short, we're starting to see a lot of in-person crimes for folks who are suspected of having a lot of money. So A, if you do make a bunch of money, don't talk about it on the internet. And B, folks, let's practice stealth wealth. We don't need to be walking around flaunting any gains that you may or may not have seen. It's just going to open unwanted attraction towards you. Really, go check out the story. It's wild. It sounds like the plot of a movie. Additionally, in crime, the suspect in approximately $190 million in a Nomad hack will be extradited to the U.S. The Russian-Israeli citizen Alexander Gurevich stole $2.89 million worth of tokens from the Nomad bridge in August 2022, which inspired and emboldened dozens of copycat hackers to steal the rest of the sum of the $190 million in tokens. Gurevich was recently found in Israel traveling under a false identity, and he will be extradited to the U.S. to face a trial of his peers and potentially get convicted. In other news, as we wrap up, there's been more Tether minted on TRON, and there's nearly the same amount of Tether minted on TRON as there is in Ethereum, which has been a race that the two chains have been going back and forth on, where TRON was in the lead in 2022 and 2024, but Ethereum regained it. And lastly, RIP to Florida's strategic Bitcoin reserve. That bill has been taken off the table, and recently the governor of Arizona vetoed the bill for a strategic Bitcoin reserve for the state of Arizona. So if you want to keep up to date with this or any Daily Digest we've released while I've not been traveling, head over to r/Smart Economy podcast, where you can keep up to date with all of the Daily Digests, as well as our bi-monthly podcast episodes and weekly Twitter Spaces. With all that said, have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.